What made your parents beg a teenager for help? I was 17 when my dad collapsed in the kitchen at 3 a.m. Mom's screaming woke me up from my room upstairs. I rushed down and found him on the floor, clutching his chest, his face gray and sweaty. Mom was already on the phone with 911, her hands shaking so bad she could barely hold it. The ambulance came within 10 minutes. They got him stable and loaded him onto the stretcher. Mom rode with them while I followed in my car to the hospital. The whole drive, I kept thinking about how stubborn my dad was about his computer stuff. He was like this cybersecurity freak who never let anyone touch his setup. At the ER, they rushed him into surgery immediately. Heart attack, a bad one. But then the nightmare really started. The insurance guy came out and asked Mom for Dad's medical card and policy information. She went completely blank. Everything was on Dad's computer. Insurance papers, bank accounts, emergency contacts, medical history, everything. And Dad never told anyone his passwords. Mom was pacing around the waiting room, tears streaming down her face. The insurance guy kept saying they needed verification within the hour, or they'd have to charge us thousands up front for the surgery. Mom didn't have that kind of money in her checking account. All the emergency savings were in Dad's online banking that she couldn't access. She grabbed my shoulders and looked me straight in the eyes. "You're good with computers, right? You can figure this out." I told her no way. Dad would kill me if he found out I hacked his system. But then she started crying harder and said, "Your father might die if we can't prove his insurance coverage." That's when I realized how serious this was. Dad had just changed insurance companies last month through his work, and the new cards hadn't come in the mail yet. Everything was digital now. The hospital needed those verification documents, or they'd transfer him to a cheaper hospital that might not have the heart specialist he needed. So I drove home while Mom stayed at the hospital. Dad's office looked like some kind of spy headquarters. 3 huge monitors, an encrypted external drive, and his password manager locked up tighter than Fort Knox. I knew he used phrases from old TV shows for his passwords because I'd seen him typing them before when I walked by. I tried everything I could think of. Star Trek quotes, Twilight Zone episodes, old detective shows he watched on Saturday nights. Nothing worked. Each failed attempt locked me out for 10 more minutes. I was sweating bullets because Mom kept calling every few minutes asking if I'd gotten in yet. Around 5 a.m., I remembered this old radio drama Dad used to quote all the time from the 1980s called The Shadow. He'd always say this one line when he was working late, "Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men?" I typed it in as one long password with no spaces. The screen unlocked. I felt like I'd just defused a bomb. I found the insurance folder, downloaded all the verification documents, and emailed them to the hospital's billing department with literally minutes to spare. They called Mom right as I was sending it to confirm they'd received everything. Dad made it through surgery. When he woke up the next afternoon, Mom told him what happened. I thought he'd be furious that I'd broken into his computer. Instead, he just stared at me for a long time with this look I'd never seen before. Finally, he whispered, "You saved my life." That weekend, Dad sat me down and we spent hours setting up shared access to everything. We made a printed emergency binder with all the important account numbers and contact information. I even taught Mom how to use the online banking and showed her where all the important digital files were stored. Now they call me before making any tech decisions.